Oh, it almost happened. I was so close to holding the actual Google Pixel Watch in my hands, but now the leaks, well, they're coming to an end. Well, at least from the source of this leak. You see, I was able to make contact with the person that had an actual Pixel Watch in hand, and I was planning to fly out to the source and have a high quality hands-on video with comparisons with the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4, Watch 4 Classic, Fitbits, and even try to see if we could get it to charge on the Pixel stand or with the Fitbit pins. But something happened that canceled all of those plans, which I can share a little bit with you, but unfortunately not all of it. With all that said, I know a lot of you haven't had time to sort through and look up everything that the source revealed about the Google Pixel Watch before you have the stuff. So here's a summary of what he revealed, some new leaks that came out this past weekend, some of my thoughts on all the leaks, why he's no longer able to leak more information about the Google Pixel Watch, and whether or not it was staged or not. I know a lot of you were speculating a bit about that. By the way, this video is sponsored in part by the Tovala Smart Oven and their healthy Tovala meals to help save you time. We'll talk more about them later in the video, but you can find out more by clicking the link in the description. Just after news that the Google Pixel Watch was official, at least official in terms of trademark for the name Pixel Watch, a story breaks out that a smartwatch that appears to be the Google Pixel Watch is left at a restaurant bar in a small white box just big enough to fit the Google Pixel Watch inside of it, with a label on it says not for sale or release. Along with that were some watch bands individually wrapped in plastic and separate from the watch. Interestingly enough, no charger was found with it. The person who initially found it tried to turn it on and it did display a G logo, but didn't really boot much after that. After a few weeks of it remaining at the restaurant unclaimed, the person that found it gave it to their friend who is a huge techie type person, and that's how he eventually started getting leaks for it on Android Central and eventually in Ask Me Everything on Reddit. Surprisingly, all this happened only a couple weeks before Google I/O, where it's rumored that the Google Pixel Watch will be revealed or at least teased. Understandably, a lot of people were suspicious about all of it, and Google has a history of their devices leaking in the most ridiculous ways possible. Heck, even I was able to leak out the Google Pixel 6 Pro early, along with photo and video samples from that unit, and that unit was found randomly in Nigeria. Yes, I'm serious. There's a card up here if you want to check that out later. But thanks to these leaks, we learned a lot about its design and feel, so here's what we know. The look of the Google Pixel Watch largely matches the renders that we've seen from John Prosser from Front Page Tech, with a circular design with a textured digital crown that depresses like the Apple Watch, but the crown is a little bit bigger in size than the Apple Watch's. There's also a button above the crown and then strap release buttons, and a bit more of a bulbous screen and a bottom area for sensors. I continue to have my concerns about the screen durability with this type of design, but I do admit it looks really clean and nice. On the bottom we can see that the health sensors largely mimic what we can see on a Fitbit. Those sensors measure heart rate and variability, oxygen saturation, skin temperature tracking, cardio fitness level, ECG, and more. This all makes sense because Google owns Fitbit, and Rick Osterloh, the head of hardware at Google, has said that they wanted to integrate Fitbit into Wear OS. And then there's the software that have shown Fitbit will be involved in some capacity. There are some pins found hidden in the area where the band would be, which we were unable to really find out what they're for, but there's speculation that this is not something that would be found in the final product and was used for something like diagnostics, charging, or both. Interestingly enough, those pins seem to correspond with the pins that you would see on a Fitbit charger, and one of the things that we were planning to do if we were to meet up is connect the pins over wires to see if it would do anything. Along the sides you can see a pinhole for a microphone and a slit for what seems to be a speaker. This would make notifications, interactions with the Google Assistant, and calls possible. Now it does appear that it does have wireless Qi charging, but all it did was boot up briefly and then shut off. There were some speculations that this would only work on the Google Pixel Stand 2 since it didn't work on various other chargers, but confusingly it didn't even work on reverse wireless charging on the Google Pixel 6, so it seems illogical to me they have a proprietary charging solution. I think what likely happened is that the battery was so low in power that you just needed to keep placing it down on the wireless charger over and over again until it actually got enough charge to charge. This has actually happened for me on my Galaxy Watch 4. The source was able to weigh the watch without bands and discovered it was 36 grams. This is quite similar to the aluminum Apple Watch, the 44mm one that is 38.8 grams. There's a leak that came out this weekend that suggests that it's made out of stainless steel, but I'm not really sure that that's just an impression or something that's actually known. For context, the stainless steel version of the 41mm Apple Watch weighs 42.3 grams, and the stainless steel version of the 45mm watch weighs 51.5 grams. Either way, a glossy design could prevent scratching of paint that you can get on something with a matte finish like what you can see on a Galaxy Watch 4 if it gets scuffed up enough. The screen is completely round, and some have complained about the size of the bezels, but I would say that things just happen to look a certain way when you look at it up close. In practice, it isn't so bad, and most people probably won't actually complain about it when they get it. The reason why I think it's not a big deal is because the Galaxy Watch 4 just happens to have the same 30mm screen and the same size bezels, and no one has complained about that. Considering those similarities, I do wonder if you're able to navigate around the interface by touching the edge of the screen like on the Galaxy Watch 4. I happen to really like this, and I think the bulbous nature of the glass would actually make it feel a lot nicer and natural compared to the Galaxy Watch 4 with its flat screen. screen design. I often try to navigate around the Galaxy Watch 4 and my finger moves outside of the touch area for rotation because of how flat it is. Having a round surface to push into from the outside makes it easier to perform this gesture. Also, some have speculated that the bulbous nature of the glass can kind of create a bit of an illusion with the content on the screen looking like it's bezel-less. It kind of distorts it to cover the edges, but we weren't able to verify that. The bands honestly look like nearly the same as a Fitbit band with its dual loop design, oval nubbin thing, and silicone design. Where it does differ is the actual attachment that fits into the watch body itself. The Fitbit has a fairly modest lip that holds it in place. On the Google Pixel Watch, it seems like the part that is actually latching onto the body is extremely robust, which gives me confidence that it will remain secure. It also seems to clasp on from the side rather than the middle. The width of it is 40mm, matching the Galaxy Watch 4, and 14mm thick compared to the Galaxy Watch's 9.8mm. Despite it being so thick because of the design, the leaker said that it honestly felt super thin, comfortable, and as if he wasn't wearing a watch at all because of its shape and design, which is really nice. In terms of overall build quality, the leaker said it feels smooth, seamless, well-built, premium, and on par with the aluminum Apple Watch, which is a huge accomplishment for Google's first official smartwatch. Now here's everything that we don't know for sure and what is currently rumored. The software that's on the Google Pixel Watch isn't entirely known other than it being Wear OS 3 and that there's some sort of Fitbit integration based upon all these watch faces found in the software development leak for Wear OS 3. According to Max Weinbach, the Google Pixel Watch has shown up in a US carrier's inventory system. I can also confirm that one of my prior sources outside of the US has seen it appear in their inventory system as well. Max's sources told him that the Google Pixel Watch will come in 3 colors: gray, black, and gold. All of these are those safe colors for devices as it covers most of people's preferences. There is another source that I'm not familiar with that has mimicked this information, saying that all colors are glossy except that there's a version that is matte black. Going back to Max Weinbach, his sources say that it'll come with 32GB of storage, and that matches the storage size found on the Apple Watch. That would give you plenty of room for music, podcasts, and apps. While we're not entirely sure what processor we'll find in the Google Pixel Watch, it's not unreasonable to think that it'll have the same Samsung Exynos W920 chip that's found in the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4. When you think about Google's recent partnership with Samsung for the Google Tensor chip that's found in the Google Pixel 6, and the merging of software between the two companies to create Wear OS 3, this seems to make some logical sense. The battery is rumored to be 300 mAh, but it's unclear whether or not there will be a larger version of the Pixel Watch and if it will contain a larger battery along with that. That's something that we currently see with the 40mm version of the Galaxy Watch 4 and the 44mm version. A recent leak from this past weekend shared that there will be 2 sizes, but again, I'm not entirely familiar with the source, so take it with a grain of salt, especially when things like this can be easily guessed. What does seem to be likely is that we'll get at least a day's worth of battery life, which unfortunately falls quite short of what you get with a Fitbit, but to be fair, this is going to be way more powerful and robust than a Fitbit. Along with that, there's a rumor that there will be a cellular version of the Google Pixel Watch. Whether or not that's the 3rd version or not, I don't know. So maybe there's a 40mm version, a 44mm version, and then a cellular enabled 44mm version. Now, something that I really hope Google gets right is the haptics. Seeing that everything about it so far seems to be on par with the Apple Watch in terms of premium feel, fit, and finish, the experiential interaction of haptics can really fill in the gaps and solidify a premium experience, or cause an experience that feels like it's just trying to be premium without actually being premium. One of the biggest things that we're missing is a price, which I'm working on obtaining through some of my sources. Considering that the hands-on leaker said that it felt as premium as an aluminum Apple Watch, with even the crown feeling similar, my guess is that the largest non-cellular version would cost between $349 and $399 to match the price of the Apple Watch. For context, the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 Classic has a list price of $349 for the 42mm version and $379 for the 46mm version. As for the release date, there have been rumors from John Prosser of Front Page Tech that it'll be teased or announced at Google I/O with an official launch in October with the Google Pixel 7. However, with a sudden influx of a lot of leaks, and even some of my sources saying that there are some sort of movement happening in the inventory systems, it may arrive sooner than later, or supply chain will continue to help us grow in patience. Now let's talk about why the leaks have stopped, right after this video sponsor. Tovala, the first smart oven paired subscription meal service that is shockingly convenient and has saved me a ton of time. You can have delicious and healthy meals delivered to you regularly with options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to choose from that are new every week. One of my favorite things about them is that they're super easy to prepare in just a minute or two. And if you've ever prepared a meal with another meal kit service, you know that the times they give you are hardly accurate. This is literally a minute or two, which I really love. Once you prep it, you just put it into the Tovala oven, scan the QR code on the card, and your meal cooks using a combination of steam, bake, and broil in 20 minutes or less. It seriously saves me a ton of time for my meals, and it's much higher quality compared to other options that feel honestly like an overglorified TV dinner. What's great about the Tovala oven is that you can use it to cook your own favorite foods with the manual functions like steam, bake, broil, toast, and reheat, which is honestly something I've just never seen in a smart oven. You can even look through the library of recipes in the app to get some inspiration, or scan over 850 grocery items from major brands like Pillsbury and Eggo, and it'll automatically populate the cooking time and routine. That's pretty neat. If you want to pick up the Tovala oven and the Tovala meals, check it out by clicking the link in the description, and thanks to Tavala for sponsoring this portion of the video. So here's a really interesting stuff that I'm sure many of you are wondering about. When the leaker started to post and ask me anything on Reddit and was very active in answering questions, I decided to reach out and provide some guidance on how to navigate leaking things. We were able to chat about the Pixel Watch, the situation, a bunch of other things, and a ton of brainstorming on how to get the watch to turn on. And then I realized, why don't I just fly out there and see in person? We haven't had a chance to have really high quality video of it. I had a bunch of different things and methods to test it out and see if we can get it to boot up, and connections with people to help us if we were able to get it to boot up. To my amazement, he agreed to it and said that I could come out there and check it out. But unfortunately, the next day things took a dramatic turn, and we had to cancel our plans to have me fly out there. Now, out of respect and request from the source, I can't share the specifics of everything that happened, but the source did share with me some documentation as well as regular updates of what was happening. He did share this in his final Reddit post. I won't be posting or responding regarding the Pixel Watch for the time being. It's been a pretty messed up day on that front. I don't want to say anything more about it at the moment, as I don't know how this is going to go. He's clearly a bit shaken up because things got a bit more real than he was expecting. What I can say is that he's no longer in possession of the Google Pixel Watch, which is likely being returned to Google, and as of the writing of this script, I personally think that he's going to be fine. Now, you can probably piece some things together, but one of the main reasons I reached out to him was initially to provide a bit of guidance to prevent him from getting into severe legal trouble by profiting from the device, either through selling leaks or selling the device itself, crossing state lines, or even opening it up. All these things can get you into serious trouble, and thankfully he did not do any of those things. And FYI, generally it's much wiser to go through a third-party media outlet like what he did initially with Android Central, or with a YouTuber like so many other people have done when they come to me to leak out things about the Google Pixel. People like me can provide guidance and filter what is shared to protect your identity so we can continue to find out more about the device, and so we can keep a source safe from any issues or anything that would give them any additional stress. Now, many of you have speculated, even after his final post, that this was all a staged leak. It obviously sounds kind of ridiculous and outrageous. Even he thought it was all staged until everything went down, and then he said that it was very clear from that point on that it was not staged at all. In many ways, I'm even more confused about how this all happened. Was someone from the marketing team that just left it there at a bar after a few drinks? Was it a product engineer? I don't know, but the way things leak from Google continually surprises me more and more. So what do you think about this crazy story? What do you think about the Google Pixel Watch so far now that we've seen a real-life version of it? I think it looks really clean and nice. What do you hope for its software, capabilities, and price? Let me know in the comments and into the This Is Tech Today community Discord chat server. We'd love to have you. Thanks for watching This Is Tech Today. Until next time.